This video is to demonstrate how to remove and insert links in the Gucci Twirl watch. Called Twirl because the watch twirls in the bracelet. This is a difficult and delicate system, much more difficult than other watch bands. So highly recommended to take it into a technician at your local jeweler and let them do it. This is not really a do-it-yourself item because it's difficult and it's easy to damage the pins. But if you are like me and you insist on doing things yourself, here's your video. The pin uses an 8mm tool to drive it out, like this. I bought this watch link remover pliers at my local Harbor Freight. It comes with two tools, a 0.8mm and a 1mm diameter. My watch took the 0.8mm diameter. The removal tool looks like this. But you can't use the actual tool because the watch band is too large, too wide to accept the tool, so you can't do that. So you can remove this removal tool here and just work with it like this. Then you can use the normal method of a piece of wood as an anvil. With a hole in it, put where you're going to drive the pin out. You're going to drive the pin out there on that side, put it over the hole. And then use your tool to insert in that little hole there, put some light pressure on it, and drive the pin out. And the hole there. The link pins are thin and easily bent. And the long pins are difficult to align through the 4 holes of the link. You've got to make, when you're trying to insert the pin, you've got 4 holes. You've got a hole here on this little ear. You've got a hole in this little slab. You've got a 3rd hole on the other side of the slab and a 4th hole on the other side of the ear. It's difficult to line all that up and get that long, thin pin through there. That's what a good pin looks like. There is a long, thin pin and a shorter sleeve, and the thin pin fits inside the shorter sleeve. The bracelet link is 2 outer ears and then an inner slab. The sleeve fits into the inner slab. You can see that the slab has a hole there. The sleeve fits into it. got, well, no. Sleeve fits into the inner slab. Goes in easily, fits in there, the inner slab. Then the long, thin pin goes through the ear of the bracelet, enters into that slab and inside the sleeve, and goes on through the other side. The sleeve has a chink in the very middle of it that you may be able to see right there in the very middle. You see there's a little, looks like a little inscribed line. That grips the thin pin. The thin pin also has a chink in the middle of it. And when the two chinks align, they mesh. And in that way, the thin pin is kept from sliding out of the link. The sleeve is trapped by the two ears, so it can't slide out. It can't slide out of the bracelet. A clever, intricate, delicate system. The sleeve may sometimes get stuck in the slab, and you may not realize that it's there. So you can use, you can get one of the pins, or in my case, I have here a thin pin that's bent and stuck into the outer sleeve. I can use this as a tool to insert into that sleeve, and it will drive. And since this sleeve is the same size as the regular little sleeve there, it'll drive it out. You may have to press it out to see that it's there. I do not believe that the thin pin has one end larger than the other, nor the sleeve. A lot of times these types of pins, they have one end is mushroomed a little bit. And that's the end that you have to drive out first and drive in last. And that keeps the pin from falling out of the watch. It grips it. I do not believe this watch works that way. Instead, the meshing chinks holds the thin pin in place. As such, I think the pins can be driven in and out in either direction. Some watches have a little arrow showing you in what direction the pins need to be pressed out, but these Gucci Twirls don't have an arrow. You can see here, there's no arrow there on the bracelet telling you which way you need to drive the pins. Driving the pins out is relatively easy. Driving them in is difficult. First, insert the sleeve into the slab part of the link. Then line up the links as best you can with your fingers and make sure you get it right, because you certainly don't want to have to take this apart and do it again. To hold your fingers, hold the assembly together as best you can with the sleeve there in the slab. That part is easy. From here on out, be careful to treat the thin pin gently, because it bends easily and that will ruin it. With a little, ask me how I know. With a little wiggling, you will be able to get the thin pin through the ear and into the sleeve and the slab. Insert a little further and you will feel it hit the chink. Now stop at that point. Before proceeding, use the 0.8 millimeter tool and insert it into the other end of the watch you're inserting the pin in from this direction and trying to drive it through. Insert your tool here. Insert it through the ear and into the sleeve in the slab. Loose end of the link. You need to do that to align the link perfectly. When you try to drive the thin pin through the ear on the far side, it's difficult. There's no way to see when the holes are aligned and no way to feel. If you don't have them aligned perfectly and you hammer the thin pin, you will bend it, and you don't want that. So use your tool to align the link. Now use a plastic hammer, because you don't want to use a lot of force and you don't want to bend your you don't want to hit your nice bracelet with a regular hammer. So use a plastic hammer. And lightly tap the pin through. You'll have to hold the entire assembly with your hands. You won't be able to rest it on a wood block like you usually would. Keep the 8.8 millimeter tool inserted through the ear and into the little slab, and then hammer the pin through the chink. And continue. It will take a little force to hammer it past that chink. After that, you'll feel the pin get tight. You have to it'll take a little force. When the pin gets to the far ear, it will hopefully enter the ear and knock out the 0.8 millimeter tool. You need to use your fingers to hold the link as aligned as possible, because there is a split second when the pin pushes the tool out that nothing will be holding the links aligned, and you need to use your fingers to maintain the alignment. With luck, the thin pin will enter the ear, and you can press it flush on the side from which you are hammering it. If the thin pin doesn't enter the ear, you're hosed. Try to hold the links aligned with your fingers so you don't bend the pin, then insert the 0.8 millimeter tool to knock the pin out a little so you can realign the links and try again. Because of the chink, it will take some pressure to press the pin backwards. Now, I'm not going to be able to demonstrate all of that with one hand at all, but you're going to take the sleeve, you're going to insert it into the little slab link, like that. Go ahead and press it flush. It doesn't have any kind of friction, so you're able to press it flush without a problem. Okay, then make sure you get it aligned properly. I'm not going to be able to do it. Let's try with my right hand.